Hello, 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 everyone. Hi, how you doing? Welcome to the 11th annual but first ever digital Passing the Mic Festival hosted by the Office of Multicultural Arts Initiatives, lovingly known as OMI at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, home of the first and only full tuition scholarship program for hip hop and urban arts, First Wave. My name is Sophia Snow. I'm the director of Oh My First Wave and a proud alumna of the first ever inaugural cohort. We have a special treat in for you tonight. Before we get into it, I'd like to begin by thanking all of our incredible partners who made this week possible. UW's Division of Diversity, the Diversity Forum, School of Education Arts Division, Interdisciplinary Arts Residency Program, and the Wisconsin Book Festival. We have a very special moment for you tonight. We're doing a basically reunion showcase, celebrating the past, present, and future of First Wave. Tonight, you will see performances from all the way, ranging from the second cohort to the 13th cohort of First Wave. And we also have some founding staff joining us, some first ever staff joining us to talk about the history and the evolution of this program. We're really excited to get into it. Before we can even begin, when thinking about the history of our program, the history of our community, and the evolution of our community over the last 14, 15 years, we want to open up this evening by invoking the names of members of our community who have moved on, who have passed on. And we want to invoke their spirits here tonight as we talk about who we are, who we've been, and who we want to be. We cannot do that without opening up and celebrating their lives. So with that being said, I'd like to invite up First Wave's digital media manager, the guru behind this entire digital festival this week, hailing from the 6th cohort, native of San Francisco, and just overall genius, entrepreneur, poet, visual artist, MC, singer, video editor, you name it, she can do it. Please go up in the chat for the one and the only Gretchen Carvajal.
Hey everybody. Hi, my name is Gretchen Carvajal, like Soph said, coming out the 6th cohort, you already know, and I wanted to take some time, as a spiritual person, as a Filipino American, also, we look at life as being eternal and life as a celebration. And I just want to take this moment to take a moment of silence for our homies, for our first waivers, for John Vietnam, for Andrew Thomas, for Nikhil Robinson, and Marlon Salgado. So if we could take a moment of silence for the homies and maybe say something in your head or up in the air, up in the universe for them for this moment before we start our night. If you're in First Wave, you remember the white tees, the running up and down Bascom Hill and doing wall sits until we memorize each other's poems in struggle. You remember the dorms in humid Wisconsin summers and taking photos of each other sleeping in Larry's class. You remember moving like molasses and trust falling barefoot into each other's arms. You remember the ragers and the rotations and all the all-nighters in between, how we balanced art, activism, and academics like a 3-armed scale and had the nerve to wake up for class the next day. If you're in First Wave, you remember our angels, how they left a sinking feeling in all of our hearts, how they gripped The songs, how for a grip, the songs didn't slap the same, loop their images in our heads like a record on repeat. But we know as artists that nobody ever really dies. I see Andrew everywhere. I see John everywhere. I see Nikila everywhere. I see Marlon everywhere. In the sweat of a cohort kid from Chicago, in the hustle of the next great MC, in the heart of a black girl who opens her home for the homies, in the hug of a real one. I feel you draping me in a scarf when it snows, scented of cinnamon, showing me how to hold a mic for the people in the back to hear me, even in the afterlife. Your cities engrave your names in the pavement, the most honorable memorial house full of kin in a campus full of strangers. John, Andrew, Nikila, Marlon, I would sample your voice just to hear it one more time. Every morning, I offer you a prayer next to your pictures on my altar to watch over the students trying to fill your shoes. I carry you in the moments so they never not know your names. And I open my table for dinner like Nikila did. And I grind till the sunrise like Nam did. And I rep my hood like Marlon did. And I laugh so loud like Andrew did. And we rock the mic and we bake the chicken and we spit the verse and we run to class and we love our folks and we do our thing because we are first wave. And it is a testament. Tonight is a testament of the people we carry in this space and into this room. May we be reminded tonight that family is boundless. We be reminded tonight that life is eternal. May we be reminded tonight that the role of the artist is the same as the role of the lover. If I love you, I have to make you conscious of the things you cannot see. And what is first wave if not for lovers? Thanks, everybody.
Woo! Gretchen, you got me messing up my makeup. Please, I see so much love in the chat for Gretchen. First wave is for lovers. Please make some noise for this community and for all of the members from start to today who paved the way and continue to pave the way. So thank you for that. That being said,
Girl,
let's take a breath together. Gretchen, I didn't know you was gonna do us like that, Gretchen. Okay, please go up in the chat while I try to keep my mascara on waterproof. Okay. That being said, what we're gonna do tonight is that we're going to share some amazing performances, filmed, social distance style, quarantine style performances from our current students in this program. We're going to transition to an alumni showcase, inviting a few alumni from cohorts 2, 3, 4, 5. You just heard from cohort 6. And then we'll have a panel featuring current scholars, alum, and some incredible special guests we're going to tell you about in a little bit. But that being said, please, please, please make some noise. Go up in the chat for our current First Wave scholars.
Don't touch my hair. Don't touch my soul. Don't touch my crown. Television I found. Don't touch my bed. The feeling I wear.
Dear God, when I have a daughter, please let her skin absorb sunlight like our brothers absorb lead from the bullets of segregation. Let her hair defy gravity like the hands of the innocent. Let her eyebrow raise in question when they try to tell her she is not magical, as if she cannot comprehend their ignorance. Let the rivers in her eyes run dry like their wells of compassion. Let her black girl nose rest easily identifiable, like on the faces of black bodies that were shot by police who were not held liable. Let her lips stay virgin of hate, like their guns stay virgin of humanity. Dear God, let my daughter have the most beautiful face. Dear God, when I have a son, let his pride defeat all evil. Let him stand and raise his voice against injustice. Let him stand above all prejudice. Let his name echo in the minds of his oppressors. Let his hands go callous as those before him. Let his feet never tear from his journey. Let his belly stay full of nourishment and his mind stay full of knowledge. Dear God, let my son have skin made of armor, so no one can ever harm him. Dear God, let my future children be safe. For I know not what would become of your world if they are hurt, and I was forced to retaliate.
Scare your children. That's the last thing we want to do. We don't want to scare anybody.
When I was a young thing, any hint of confrontation made me tremble. Eyes sweat, bullets. Every inch of my skin would be covered in a heavy wetness, except for my mouth. The way my tongue wrapped around itself and squeezed till the space between my jaws was dry as a summer's day in the South. Later found out that was called cottonmouth. The first time a cop took me into his sights, my body filled with a fear that felt like it came all the way from my ancestors. I felt my cheeks getting all big, like it was something growing in them. But the cop, he just looked me all around and asked, "Where your voice done went?" And I opened my mouth and began to pick and begin to pick.
Yeah, we don't want to do anything to scare your children. That's the last thing we want to do.
Putrid smells of gasoline that burns my nose. I see the children running through the burning fields, their smiles replaced with pure terror as shadows devour them whole. leaving empty hosts to be forgotten and buried. Running to the church, a temporary haven, there we stayed under the eyes of God as we watched our men run off into the burning fires. A man who claims he's a priest speaks our mother tongue, and in our solace gives us fields to till the lives we once lived. But in the midst of war, God does not speak, and thus we fled for our lives as the drumming grew louder. Surrounded by greens, I could not breathe. The heavy breaths and soft mumbles of my baby filled my ears as I passed over the dead bodies. My stomach churned, my feet were torn. The taste of bananas still lingered on my tongue, but the fear of death numbed it all. We arrived at the edge of a river. Submerging our bodies, we held our babies towards the sky, laying them down on the grounds that did not belong to Vietnam. But the hatred still followed, and so we waited for the Americans as we starved in the camps. When the birds landed, we flew.
I see burning smiles, shadows running to a temporary God. We watched our men run off into the burning mother tongue. In the midst of war, God does not breathe. The dead bodies on my tongue, the fear of death submerging our bodies. We held our babies towards Vietnam, but we waited for the Americans as we starved. The birds flew. I see smiles running into burning. God held our Vietnam as we starved.
My day ended before it begins. I wake towards today and shake tomorrow loose like stolen change. I crack my neck, and yesterday's shadow floods my bedroom floor. How long have I been here? In my little room, I pace the yawning distance between its corners and try to stay afloat. Hostage ritual. I'll wake up better tomorrow. Next month, next year, things will be just like before. I'll have more warmth than the bed sheets I smother alone. Soon, I'll see my friends again. Hear more than the echo of time against this empty room. I check my phone, I call a friend, I play a game, I overdress for no occasion, I pretend to work, I sing myself to sleep. I sleep, I sleep, 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 I stretch, I crack my stiff spine, I try to look forward. I try to remember to pair this fog of silence. I try to find peace. I open the blinds. I close the blinds. I move to my chair. I move to my bed, to my memory. I lose track of the days, weeks, months. I lose track of the names. How long have we been here? My phone is a portal, an obituary lighthouse. The world gets more terrifying and ambient every passing year, month, week, day, hour. I'd go outside, but we're being killed. I fill my lungs with the same air I've been breathing for months. I'm here, still, and feel like I'm running a race with no cure. How long are we going to be here? Will we transcend this distance? Will we break this loop? My day ended before it begins.
Black Lives Matter is what I say. All lives matter is what they bust back now. On all levels, I respect that, but it is not your race that is under attack, see? So let's bring it back, see? MLK and Malcolm X fought, not so that way you could stress and think we think that we're the best, but just so there could be a day you'd walk a black man's way and not think, damn, that would make a good slave. Nowadays, we got these boys running in the streets, screaming F the police, not because they're in defiance, but because they're in reliance on the fact that because we are black, we are under attack. We rally and riot not because we are so angry we don't know how to act, but because we can't find another way to fight back. Trayvon Martin and Michael Brown are not the only two that are falling down. Our people are dropping all around, and you expect us not to make a sound. Do you say all lives matter because you see me and think I'm trying to raise my race above yours? Because I'm not. I'm just trying to make sure we're all walking through the same doors in life. I'm just trying to make sure we all really have equal rights. But I guess since I'm speaking up, eventually I have to pay the price. A friend of mine said she was confused. She said, we're in the same school. I'm sitting next to you. So what is Black Lives Matter really trying to prove? I said, girl, we're just trying to get through to you. So tell me honestly, what do we gotta do? See, when we leave school, it's not the same for me like it is for you. To feel safe, you walk near cops. Well, I gotta walk near cameras, or I could be another Sandra Bland killed by the white man. I gotta let my people know I didn't commit suicide, that I wanted to live my life. My people gotta know how I died. I ain't no sacrifice. I still got my pride. Why should my mother have to have fear in her eyes, just terrified if she don't get a call from my little brother? That ain't fair, but it seems like you don't care. You say all lives matter because you don't see that to me, all lives don't matter. Black lives don't matter. My life don't matter if a white man can kill me and get off crime record free. Free. A word that should never be directed at me because black people still ain't free. Just because we're not shackled in chains and whips being called slaves and that don't mean things changed a bit. How strange is it? We're being trained to sit in silence, isolated, undereducated, left to live with violence, though. Some of us still thrive. I wonder how they feel knowing I plan to do more than just survive. We got people winning the Nobel Prize. Old girl got a college law degree at age 16. Listen, we can succeed, and damn straight before I leave, my people will raise as one. Brothers, sisters, daughters, and sons, team light skin, team dark skin, Bloods and Crips. Well, I guess things have changed a bit. We ain't got MLK. We're not singing slave tunes about being free, but we're definitely grabbing guns, screaming F the police, though. That might just be my defiance. I'm out here being a rebellious teen against the same authority that would be quick to cut off my right hand and leave. Little do they know, I'll just go hard with my left. Keep pushing for success because I am truly blessed, so don't stress. Like I said, my people will raise as one. Brothers, sisters, daughters, and sons.
How you know that?
You ready?
They don't even know that.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear it.
I don't need no dude tonight, I'm having my fun. Yeah, they like a chase, but I ain't never on the run.
Whoa, wait. Had to pause for a minute. Girl, you know that little verse ain't gon' sell none. And I know you got stories to tell, but was a friend, they don't care if it's well done. And I'm not tryna stunt, but
What?
I need me some shit with some bop in it. And if you confused about what bopping is, just go look at the song in the top 10 is. They all good songs, they all talented. But the topic's important as talent is. They talking about sex. They not talking about struggles and challenges. And it's not personal, nah, it's just business, nah. We talking about top of the building. We penthouse indoor pool counting millions.
Let me tell y'all about what we've been going through. Men telling us this and that like they've been new. Oh really? Let me show you how I rock the stew. Yeah, teaching kings and queens just how to keep it cool. Look, my voice, my power, no attitudes left sour. Running laps and head to the shower, don't wanna run up on any rude cowards. I'm only here to empower. Can't tell me how to do it, I'm a sticker for my music, no matter who don't like the groove. It's heavy D up on this track, no disrespect, that stuff is whack. Chasing dreams, the color of black, see I'm not about to hide who I am on this track. My team's a 10 and that's a fact, don't mess with this art or its raps. We need to let our creativity flourish, don't want history to repeat and go back.
I don't need no dude tonight, I'm having my fun. Yeah, they like a chase, but I ain't never on the run. Please don't call me needy, I swear this was just for fun. Now you won't ever see me less, I'm stepping on the runway. How did we let it get this way? Now we live in different states. Look at me, I really up the stakes. Hey, hey.
As quick as the cat call, a sudden obelisk lifting between his denim seam. But no, I am a holy thing. I worship no false monument. How could I not fear the man who thought my body a crusade, who saw my body a pillage? He calls me out of my name, so I cleave the memory, till the slurs are whittled into adult ache, till only the empty faces, till only the triggered and not the trigger, like a ruby shattering beneath my heel. I am a sudden nebula, a cloud of fragments birthing a new star, a new engine to do the remembering. With each night, I am a new morning's dawn. I have not forgotten, but abandoned the memories to stay alight. I am not a perfect thing, but an alive one.
As quick as a holy thing, could I not fear a crusade who whittled the empty faces like a ruby. I am a sudden star, remembering with each morning's dawn. I abandon the memories. I am not a perfect thing, but an alive one. As quick as fear, I star with each morning's dawn. I am not alive.
My name is Jackson. Most names have a secret, a meaning pulsing inside of them. Example, Elizabeth, my aunt's name. It means my God is abundant. My uncle Alexander, his name means leader of men. And me? My name is simple. Son of Jack. And I am. Sometimes. My dad, his name is Jack. Get it? In pictures, I look just like him. Everywhere I go, I carry the bones of men who love their wives, who will never be them? Do I even come from men, or do I wear their husks and lipstick? I look just like my mother. What do you call me then? Late night becoming cover girl, ball gown falling to the hair on my feet. This is Shaylin's Sheen, my mother's name. Sometimes I hear the sun in my name, and I know it just means morning star, bright light, fire of all the women I come from. Sometimes the sun in my name, it means brute boy, dark musk, you, phantom of dead bucks and the funk of uncles. I know who I come from. White men drunk on the blood of conquest. I wear this violence. It is my shadow and my skin, the hemorrhage in history, red line dissecting community, red as the nails of my aunties, white women dressed so decadent we don't notice the blood in their teeth. I sever my name from Jackson into Jax, and I mean axe that severs me from the assignment of gender. A blade sharp as my nails, a blade I watch like a mirror, a reminder that some identities are still weapons. White queers think that we are removed from violence, as if we cannot be as brutal as the blade held against us, and even this is a white lie. Even as I do my makeup, all the concealer looks like me. This is a violence written in my ancestry. This campus has awful history. In every room I enter, I decide to cycle that history or to slice it with the bright, bright blade of my name.
Quicksand. I grew up in the quicksand of white suburbia. That kind of childhood where the concept of race leaves you sinking. There's never been a time I wasn't drowning in it. I was the kid who thought she was adopted because the white kids told her so. I was the kid who colored on my skin with white crayons, pressed heat into my curls like there was no other way to love them if they weren't choking in smoke. Split ends became arrowheads aimed straight down. Singed scars on the nape of my neck only meant it was working, and the weight of the sand called me pretty. So I let it drain me a little farther. Let the fragments of sand clog my throat a little more. And somewhere my ancestors laughed and cried, trying to pull me free. I was the kid all the other kids stared at when they saw my parents. Dad, Black, Mom, Mexican, they're for me impossible. The thing about diversity, like the institutional kind, is that it reduces me to a mathematical form. The statistic in the pamphlet, the Black student. And they told me college would make me feel weightless. So why is everything so heavy? Every white stare in the classroom, every hand that touches my afro, every, but you talk so white, quicksand squared. Mom said if I was going to write poetry in college, they would require me to write this poem, and then write it again. Less suffocating this time. Again, more brown this time. Is it too late for me to grab my ancestors when the sand drowns this quickly? You know, there's not a single person who's heard me perform a poem about the way I've been coughing up white sand since I was a child. How I've never learned to just take a breath without sputtering grains. I'm learning the only way to escape quicksand is to lessen your own mass. There are parts of me still heaving up whiteness, and I can't undo my childhood, but The weight lessens when I dig up my afro. Weight lessens when I cook the most Mexican of meals for the homies, or write the versions of myself in parallel universes with nothing but lungs for a body. The only time skin and words meet on the paper is when my own agenda calls for it. When I know the poem will make me feel lighter. I like to think somewhere my ancestors are smiling, breathing relief, resting, finally.
What the wind moves in Wisconsin. I can't talk about the trees without the blood. Tiana Clark. What white folk can get away with a grin and an apology will make me a weeping willow. A noose is hung on campus. Again, the trees shake the jolted ghosts from their limbs, like every quivering soul forced to fit their necks into an untidy knot. I knot into the mattress of my apartment, fold beneath the springs. Imagine a sunrise where history is not an excuse, but a black flower in a field with no memory of cotton or colonize, or dark carcasses as the most prized pendulums. Where I hang with my niggas and never consider the ways gravity and an itchy finger could guide us to the ground. In y'all eyes, my frame is most appealing when dangling, defying gravity or dying by it. Either way, I don't touch the ground. Public spectacle in ascension and execution. If you don't believe I'm real, you wouldn't bother to know what has birthed or killed me. Body made me a vast land, shade of dirt. Black made me descendant of demonized dirt. Body made me grow steady, flat feet as trunk. Black made my growth the biggest reason to snip me short. Black keeps my head on a swivel. It's why blue and red lights stay lurking where I stay. It's why go back to Africa. Chants ring from balconies in my direction. It's why I can't forget the fear or fetish these big lips and broad shoulders bring into the bar. It's why I can't shake out of the rope of this university that fails to give my feet enough space to land, my breath enough room to breathe. I'm supposed to forget and quietly continue my studying, knowing those phantoms bear the same burden as me, trying not to become an ornament to dangle for your amusement, an object misused and left with scars an apology can't atone for. An immaculate death, neat and unblemished, all the mess left in the rope. What is learning in a place that's still learning? I shouldn't be in suspension. I wake up, shaking and out of breath, with the storm outside, the trees trembling in unison.
me crazy. Outcast got people call him lazy. I watch bro die, that shit is crazy. Handcuff my people on a daily. They got a God complex, they see the God in us. Gunpowder, blue badge, black girl dust. Somebody need to pray for me. Call it make-believe, but racism root the tree. Divide my people like a pardon seed. Pardon me, blackness more than what it seems. Don't let the system crush your dreams. My soul eternal when my house clay. Don't let me fade away in spray paint. I miss the hood on a good day. Bye-byes on Sunday. Home remedy for something man-made. My skin all black like Harper Friday. I miss a different Kanye. I've been blasting chants since 10 day. We crucified Jesus on his worst day. Wore out a soul, check the wordplay. Life got one play, but we replay last breaths on replay. Unmask the God that you made of immortality on TV screens. Watch how the soil reap that. Watch how the soil come back. Your gold and silver bring the chain back. False prophets claim that. We watch Laquan die. It's hell in here, don't call me crazy. Outcast got people call him lazy. I watch bro die, that shit is crazy. Handcuff my people on a daily. They got a God complex, they see the God in us. Gunpowder, blue badge, black girl dust. We wanna be iced out. Grab a gold chain, it's better when drip drown than the fear of a slave ship. Acid rap was my best trip. Right off the rip, I'm singing Chano. Change the channel, red blood, white tee, his badge, but you know. Chicago look like Tombstone or the war zone, Walla Camp. Girl, get your groove on. We hold our joy like it's glued on. We hold our joy like it's glued on.
What up, what up, what up, what up? I'm James Gavins, alumni of second cohort of First Wave, and currently the creative director. Super proud to be here. I'm in the midst. I'm just looking at work. I got some of my people in here. We're about to jump into this alumni showcase, which I'm super excited about. Yeah, let's get into it. First up, we have my cohort brother. Doing amazing work in TV and theater. You probably saw him on the show. You probably seen him in this, seen him in that. But I want you all to give a warm welcome and be in this chat. I need y'all to hop in this chat and give a very, very warm welcome to my cohort brother, Carl Iglesias.
Yo, what's good, James?
What's going on?
Thank you for having me. Cool. I'm just gonna hop in right away if that's all good.
It's you.
All right, cool. This first piece, I have a couple poems for y'all. One, I got a brand new book coming out. It's my first book ever, and it's called Catch a Glow, and it touches on Hurricane Maria and the aftermath in Puerto Rico. And I'm going to read you a poem from that book. That book is available for pre-order right now if you're feeling like you want to follow me a little later in my journey. This book will come out in February. And then I'll share a brand new poem that's going to be in my next book whenever that comes out. So appreciate y'all. And thank you for your time. Ofrenda. Joselito has a generator that his son sent him from Florida. He has been using it to power the floodlight down the road every evening since Dia de los Reyes, offering our barrio a makeshift lamppost, Galle's North Star. I take a little shine from our neo moon to inspect how my calloused fingers translate chords. We all need to see what we are doing. My hamaca offers the usual waltz. I offer pitorro de quenepa to Evelyn and her husband next door, but they never accept. She offers una tacita tibia, and how could I say no? I offer my cuatro, a cup of humming sugar. My quickened bones croon a bolero out. The night is warm brick of chocolate, surrendering to simmered milk, sweet blood. I offer tune to relentless mosquitoes, baiting the bats. They offer salsa, offer clashing shadows and their best smile. Swift wings, a striking turn of page. I can barely read the notes off my crinkled hymnal, but if I angle it just right, I can catch a glow over my shoulder, and I play on. Coquis whistle by the thousands, offer to fill the air with a call and response, a coro pregón of burning candles, porches, listening constantly. Joselito Kings, that his son is not coming back, but should hear from him soon. Thank you. And I just got one more poem for y'all. And I mentioned in that first poem a holiday called Dia de los Reyes, and all my Bodies know what it is. We celebrate that unlike any other. It's also called Epiphany. You may just be like, what's that in January on my calendar that says Epiphany? And it's a holiday that we celebrate about three kings coming visit baby Jesus. And this is about a little tradition that I have, my family. The woman leads me with a bowl of water from the kitchen towards my room. We are dressed for sleep in oversized tees, my ceiling covered in green glow-in-the-dark stars, endless. There is a prayer in the way the woman tucks the covers under my body. We learn the kings are on their way by camp to see the new baby. What kind of gifts do you think they'll bring him? Now, in my lip bite lived a Sega Genesis, but the baby had tiny hands. So the woman leaves the bowl of water for the camels by my bedside. Now animals can quench their walk through the desert. Do we need to leave anything else? Woman cups her hands, palms down, the way you mold mofongo, and reveals a little girl and a pile of island grass next to her bowl of water. The woman's lips point toward the window, and the Milwaukee tundra in January, much too cold for camels. The woman cups her hands again, and this time reveals the little girl waking up to empty bowls, to a gift left to her by traveling kings. The woman cups her hand again, and this time places them over my eyes, my face small enough to be covered wholly. Thank you all. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Yes. My cohort brother, Carl Iglesias. Thank you so much, bro. Thank you for being here for sure. Next up, oh my gosh. Next up, we have a third cohort member. This is a poet and an author. Word on the street is she got a book coming out March 2021 with Penguin Random House called Black Girl Called Home. And you need to go pre-order that. But I need all of y'all to give amazing, ooh, she right there. Give amazing love to my first wave sister, Jasmine Mans.
Can I just say something like really quick? Is Shamika here? Shamika and Rena, like this is like a crazy.
Oh! You know what?
No!
Put them in the love bird.
No!
Put them in the love bird. Put them in. Yo, I got it. Let me introduce them first. Yo, we gonna keep these alum up here, but let me introduce everybody, and then we're gonna go from person to person. That works.
I just don't even know if my rules are good enough.
It's all good.
I love y'all something crazy. Oh my God. Oh my God. To see these faces here. Oh my. All right. Let me focus. Center in. This is a new poem. I might fuck it up. This is crazy. Thank you guys. I'm so honored to be here. Whew. She said her bladder was as good as a loose fist after her first baby. Couldn't hold any of the water it poured from her like a bleeding river. Slave women back then ain't get to see good doctors. Either they got better or spoiled rotten like dirty women. And ain't no good use for a rotten, dirty woman. Her first baby dropped when she was 18. Pelvis too small to push the baby through. Like her body already knew to refuse its becomings or would be, she aged fast after that. The pain hated her just as much as she hated it. She bled of a slave's disease, and we all knew it, that the fault wasn't hers, just the body. The doctor came and claimed her, took her for free. He said he'd fix her up, built her some quarters in his own yard. She was awake and on her knees for some of the surgeries, screamed like a cow in labor or like a woman in dying. Naked and open, nipples hardened towards the ground, stomach bloated, almost stuck, a crying, pouring thing, watching pieces of herself fall into a wooden table like autumn. The other doctors watched, took turns inserting fingers and scalpel inside of her, a different kind of molestation. Slave women weren't allowed to claim themselves or demand that you treat them like ladies, butt perched up towards the ceiling or towards the heaven, held down from wrists to ankles, tearing her flesh, tearing her nails through our flesh, our sweat becoming each other's. It didn't make her a strong woman. It just reminded her that she wasn't one, a lady. Doctors soaked up her urine and blood with the same sponge as if it all came from the same place or was of the same kind of thing. The sponge swelled a fresh death. Her blood reached itself into every corner of the room like plague or permanent. She could have died right then and there and would have been fine with it, thought that death was the only way to escape her own mangled body, the body she was forced to have. It was more broken when you finished. She was an 18-year-old dying thing, still having to carry a body that someone else made expire on her. Her slave body, her slave girl body, her slave girl mother body. Doctor said she had no pain, but she felt everything. He went on to cure a whole lot of white women. Those women always treated like ladies. Whitney hologram. The Whitney Houston hologram goes on tour April 2020. A live band accompanies a woman who is not there, like pallbearers. Black bodies still under contract. Reactivate a dead woman's social media account and promote her. You don't have to be alive to make a living or a killing. Aren't we godly in our ability to reincarnate the dead? Magical in our attempt to falsify the falsetto? Criminal in our ability to steal the song right out of the casket? Make her irresistible, undying, more realistic than she ever was in her living form, stuck alive, unresting, always available. We stand at her grave and demand an encore, a godless resurrection. This is not Whitney, just the greatest hits. This Whitney does not age a bit, voiced left in perfect pitch. Too good to let go, too good to get over, too good to give back to God. They don't give our bodies back to God. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. Ooh.
Most def. Oh man. Yes. Yes. Make some noise again for Jasmine Mans, yo. I miss you. Yo, Pete. All right, let's keep this moving. You've had me stuck for a minute, but I'm gonna keep this moving. All right. Next up is somebody hailing from the 5th cohort of First Wave, a great friend of mine. Amazing recording artist, does work in TV, in theater, was that a Emmy nomination for your show with PBS Wisconsin, The Light? I think so. That was yeah. I need everybody to make some amazing noise for my friend Zalarina Sanders.
Hey y'all, how's it going? My internet connection I think is a little so I think things late, but let me know if put it in the chat or something if there's an issue and I can stop. Yeah, this song is about my dad. And one of my dads. I got two dads, not to flex, but you know, when you got it, you flaunt it. So this is about my stepfather. Holy smokes, Batman. Holy Ghost tap dance. Shadrach, Meshach, Pac-Man's home. And his children forgot they were glad he was gone. Lock the pills in the truck when daddy's alone. The quickness he'll get dipping with his codone. Rip up the script just a twist up a spliff and be gone. Daddy fun. Be daddy back out the door. Sad he would rather be burning the spoon than food first of the month to use. But his children are amazed. All we see is his cake. Superpowers and tech. And it will go. And we disconnect, collect calls, and mama regretting to the music. Detroit proper, a smooth diver, enough to make our father who art nada, still part water, his daughters. And he made sure every. So if he said he quit that lala, he was good for it. But if that thing you want to laugh, because he's a mystery man. I was just playing while you pissed at me, man. His smile was sugar sweet enough to put his life. Nobody breathing bigger than my daddy, dragging the magic, thinking it's magic to disappear in the kill fairy dust and rabbits. He's making it laugh if it get blood on your body is stiff. Your daughter can't wake you up. Did you have too much fun? Did you fly, my nigga, and then eat the Aladdin had a habit that Jasmine for it. Went to high on his carpet, so she sold it and got. What was that? Can y'all? Oh, Aladdin had a habit, could not afford. Went too high on his carpet, so but how could you not adore a man who gives cries? Jiggles at every other stick figure who figure do this. Visiting you is like slipping with Judas. Truth is, your sorry is useless. Rufus, we could stop writing excuses, but that won't. In fact, it would be much more attractive. So on your release that with cherry dip in the cute sheet cake, cause you I'ma ride with you. I'm ride with you. I'ma fold. I'ma grow with you. I'ma mold with you. Hope with you. I'ma let it go. Committed to loving you through it, even if believing you making me look stupid. Gotta have a quick conversation with my pride right now. Thank you. Oh.
Yes, Rena. Rena, you know what was so dope?
Did it go
you
out?
Said a line.
What?
You said a line, but you had said disconnect. It was like, we disconnected. I was like, keep breaking the internet. Yo, thank you. It's all good, yo. It's all good. Much love, man. Much love and respect. Oh, man. All right. We have one more on our alumni showcase. So this amazing person hails from the 4th cohort of First Wave. Right now, a part-time artist making her way to being a full-time artist and doing it very, very, very well. I'm a fan of everybody and a fan of this person. I need you all to make amazing noise for the one and only Shamika Moore.
She's in college in Wisconsin. When I get big, we'll have that in common. Now I'm looking at the nonsense I participate in. Sometimes when you're being chased, you forget what you're chasing. Last night, I was chasing some vodka with another shot of something that could leave my conscience vacant. What good is a conscience? It's just moral entertainment. Because I still get images of my brother on some pavement. He's only 23 with 2 or 3 child support cases, but doesn't hesitate when my account is aching. Double checks who I bank with. Take a look at my statements. Enough money for a tank in. Even a martyr could do some saving or saving. Some say a casket is all he'll be graced with. Or a dip and a trip in the back of a black and white whip and shiny bracelet, told in 2 or 3 cases. Is it claimless or basic? Are we slaveless or chainless? Just because my people ain't your taste don't mean that we tasteless. Funny. I'm spitting all these bars like you ain't behind them. Funny. How we stayed near Northern Lights, but mom could never keep the lights on. Funny. Grandma died before we were born, and grandpa died before we can remember. So the only family we personally watched die is each other. Remember, little brother, we don't give pep talks. We give eulogies. We've been here before, did this before, died a million times and made that shit look good. Little Lazarus, mislabeled baby's kids, and baby, ain't no walking dead as fly as us. Children's services was a casket we had to jump in a couple of times. That one night, we slept a head on each of mom's thighs, rested like the little growing corpses we were, flew from hell and back when we were both touched, and it wasn't by angels. All the ways we died and made that shit look good. The first time, mom chose a man like hell chooses orange soda. We dug a hole 6 feet deep and danced in it. The next time she chose a man over us, he punched you in the chest, you lost your breath, I held mine, we died to survive, we made that shit look good, and baby, ain't no walking dead as fly as us. Funny. We were born to a mother who wanted to be a funeral every week. Funny. We got the last name of grandparents we don't even remember. Funny to you or not, I believe they putting in mad overtime in the afterlife to make up for it, bro. I don't know what parts of you are dying in that bumfuck county's penitentiary. I do know it damn sure ain't gonna be 9 years. We both know resurrection like the back of our black hands, and baby, we always come back better. Thank you guys. Fourth cultural I die. Hey, gang.
Everything's in retrograde. I muted myself, which if we were on Zoom would be normal. But hello, everybody. Shamika, if I could have you back on the screen, we're about to get into a conversation with the First Wave family. But I specifically also just wanted to pull you aside because Shamika represented Fourth Co. We're about to talk a little bit about the intersection of First Wave and where we're at, but also I just wanted to kind of hear a little bit about where you're at. And, you know, I think over the last few years after leaving the program, it's a thing to try to figure out a way to how to keep your own artistry going. And recently you've been out here putting your videos out again. And I just remember the first time I saw you post a video up, I just was like, Mika is back, thank God, with the freestyles. And I just wanted to ask you a little bit too about, you know, the reaction you've been getting, putting yourself back out there.
Well, okay. Again, fourth co, I love you. Fourth co. And also, Sophie, I gotta say, all these videos I saw, well, one, Jasmine Mans, Carly Iglesias. Can we talk? Like, oh my gosh, Rena. Like,
right.
Anyway, but these newer cohorts are putting in work. There was a whole music video, Sophia. There was like, not like, I couldn't make any comments.
They shot it over quarantine. It was social distance, masks on.
I don't know who was working it on State Street. I forgot the name, but shout out to you, boo. Okay. Okay, sorry. To your question. Yeah, I did. I had like a lot of hiccups after I left college. I was in some bad relationships that really took off my focus. And also I was in a bad relationship with myself, a very bad relationship with myself. And so once I started, talking to myself a bit better, I started motivating myself to put out videos. And it's just kind of crazy that I think they've been doing well, like considering that I've just been putting them out. And also they brought about a lot of new opportunities, and the reaction is really surprising. It really is. I thought I was going to get like 1 or 2 likes and then just, nobody knows me, nobody remembers me, but they do when they know that I'm coming like, from my heart.
Yeah, no, I honestly, the thing about when we were thinking about doing this alumni showcase and bringing you back, and like, there's so many folks, and I see so many alumni in the chat too, that we just want to welcome everybody back. But there was something special, Shamika, about you stepping back into your voice and back into your artistry and back into sharing it with the world. That really is the story about this community showing up for each other and showing up for yourself first. So thank you so much for joining us today. I'd like to invite all of the alumni back to the screen. Hello. How y'all doing? We're about to have a conversation about the evolution of being in first wave and the intersection of first wave in your artistry, but also how we get started. So I'd also want to welcome a few more people to the screen. We have Rafael Casal with us. Okay, Rafael Casal.
Yeah.
What's happening?
Wow, these beautiful ass people. Look at y'all.
Rafa, let me give you your intro, because when you get a bio, you deserve the bio to be read. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Okay, Rafael Casal debuted the acclaimed Blind Spotting, in which he wrote, produced, and starred. Premiered at Sundance and Lionsgate, won a major bidding war. In production as showrunner for the series adaptation for Stars. Seen opposite Hugh Jackman in the Emmy-winning HBO film Bad Education, and Ethan Hawke in Showtime's The Good Lord Bird. He wrote music for the Apple series Central Park and writing and composing for season 2. Rafa was First Wave's first ever creative director, establishing the position and paving the way for this level of artistic leadership as a part of Oh My staff. If you could please go up in the chat for our very own Rafael Casal. Yeah. We are so excited. Also, speaking of, I'd also like to welcome to the conversation everybody's mentor's mentor. Please make some noise in the chat for Bamuthi, Mark Bamuthi.
Yeah. Everybody's mentor. Okay,
we know it's true. I promised Bamuthi on day 1 of this festival, I read your whole ass bio. And today we have to lay down so the people know what we're doing here, because there's some younger first wavers in the chat who may not quite know. Bamuthi, while also engaging in a deeply fulfilling and successful artist career, proudly serves as the Vice President and Artistic Director of Social Impact at the Kennedy Center for Performing Arts in Washington, D.C., a 2017 TED Global Fellow, an inaugural recipient of the Guggenheim Social Practice Initiative, and an honoree of the United States Artist Rockefeller Fellowship. He is also the founding program director of the exemplary nonprofit Youth Speaks, which is represented with us this week, and is a co-founder of Life is Living, a national series of one-day festivals which activate under-resourced parks and affirm peaceful urban life. Bamuthi's evening-length work, created in collaboration with composer Daniel Bernard Roumain, The Just and the Blind, was commissioned by Carnegie Hall and premiered to a sold-out house in Carnegie March 2019, which we will be viewing a digital version of this Friday. So don't forget to register at Oh My First Wave. Back in 2007, Bamuthi was the interdisciplinary artist in residence here at UW-Madison. His residency in 2007 gave birth to several multicultural hip-hop and urban arts initiatives we carry on today and laid the foundation for Oh My to found the first wave hip-hop and urban arts learning community, and that began just the following year. Bamuthi, we appreciate you. Thank you for joining.
Can I just update my bio? My bio now reads, I just want to be Jasmine Mans.
Okay.
Period. Many teams. Because that shit takes too long. That shit takes too long
You
to
know
say.
what?
So,
Truthfully, and
but Mark Bamuthi Joseph just wants to be
Jasmine
Carly Iglesias when he grows up.
I'm literally texting.
Like, yeah.
It's
wanting to
real.
be Jasmine Mans. Hella wants to be Carl. If could be Sophia, that would be nice. But
listen, we love to have you. And the last person I'm gonna welcome, it already looked like the Brady Bunch on the screen, but I'm gonna invite one more person because our founding artistic director, Professor Chris Walker, is also in the chat, and we must have him on the screen. Chris Walker he already said don't do my whole bio, so I won't.
Yeah, we're not gonna do it. I'm gonna cut you. I'm gonna interrupt you.
Go ahead, Chris.
What are you doing?
Come through.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, we're not gonna do the Chris Walker bio. It's on, however, it's on the On My website and it's on dan.edu. We're directing traffic to our home. But this conversation is really about the founding of the First Wave program and the founding of the artistic voice of the First Wave program. And then what's represented on the screen right now is cohorts 1 through 6. And I just want to give thanks and give love for what this image is. When I came to Madison in fall 2006, I was walking around campus trying to find anything black to participate in. It so happened that the few things of color that I found and was able to participate in were run by OMI, Office of Multicultural Arts Initiatives, who had also at the time sponsored the IARP residency that started that spring, and that was Mark Bamuthi Joseph. This brother came in and he transformed our campus. He transformed the conversation. I'll never forget the weekly conversations that happened in a classroom that you could hear spill out all over campus for days after that class. What spilled out all over campus for days after that class in the spring of 2007 is still spilling out all over campus 13 cohorts later. The idea of the break and the phenomenon of that space that hurt may be created in that particular activity. The idea of the break as a space of innovation was something that was introduced to us by Mark Bamuthi. If in creating this break, by extending the break beat, people could go in and dance and compete in a more equitable way, people could now rhyme on top of the space that was provided. You provided that space. I can now scratch and mix and I can start to create new things. So the space that was created was a space of innovation. That I heard this brother talk about in a lecture in like February or March. And the foundation for how First Wave could be structured was born. I give thanks for Mark Bamuthi Joseph, his work, his mind, his continued gift to community. And the other person I want to just quickly speak to here is after the first year of our program, the much recruitment and much push, Rafael Casal joined us and established what became the creative director position, working intimately with students in advising and transforming their art. And again, with his stepping into UW-Madison, transform the space, transform the program, and the effect of Rafael Casal's presence on our campus is felt to this day. I'm not saying these things just to big up people. I'm saying these things because Sophia Snow was a part of the first cohort, recruited because we remember she was one of the youth advisors to the mayor of Boston. James Gavin was a part of the second cohort. Every single person you see here was strategically recruited to this program because of what they brought. Gallerina, you took me down memory lane just now because I remember, I think it was Tampa. We were, and that freestyle mess with Asia, and it blew my mind that young people could do what they could do. So everybody you see here were strategically recruited and were impactful in shaping what became curriculum, what became first wave program. Every voice on the screen today had a hand in what we call the first wave process and what we call the first wave program. So I want to just open this conversation to this group of folks. You know, what was the role of first wave in your life? What impact it had upon you? And does that continue to manifest in the work you do today? Right? And you'll speak to that from different capacities because your relationship with the program has been different. Why don't we start with Rafa?
Well, I mean, what? Yo. Look.
Because we're gonna bounce around a little bit.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, you know, I came about the program in such a Bamunzi obviously has been my mentor since I was 14, and he brought me out when Line Breaks was a series on campus. Was this multi-week sort of series lab that is very similar to what we do at the public theater now. I mean, really, what happens to me and what I'm sure is happening to all of you is like everything that a mentor gave you, you are manifesting in your own life in your own way. Like we look at bars now in the public, and it is so obviously directly related to First Wave, directly related to You Speaks, directly related to a pedagogy that Chris and Bamunzi engineered and created. So I think the program really was this, and continues to be this space where we were tasked with this idea of what does it mean to continue your artistic endeavors while pursuing higher education and not have one trade out for the other, right? And it is this great experiment because we didn't know it didn't exist at the time. I remember when Chris and I were sitting down and going, what does the second year of this program even look like? What is third and fourth? We hadn't even talked about it because I think that just the idea of getting through our first year was so novel, so revolutionary that we had to sort of walk through the rest. And so I think what was really incredible about some of you who are here on the screen right now and the folks that are in the chat and folks that were part of those early cohorts is you were bearing with us while we were trying to figure it out, you know, through our own fates and through yours. What does it mean to be in practice together with a pivotal moment in all of our lives? And I was having this talk with James a few months ago where I had to remind him that I was 23. Like I was like, you in your mind think I was an adult. I was not. I was 23. Chris was younger than me now when I met him. And he was the old homie, you know, which is crazy because I think I just now kind of know what I'm doing in life. You know, but we were young people trying to steer younger people in an institution for me that had always rejected me until I had something that I could offer them. Like I couldn't get into UW-Madison until I was willing to work for UW-Madison. That was my trip. This whole shit was a finesse for me to go to school for free. That's why I came here, you know, to get my education because y'all motherfuckers were better. Y'all all had better GPAs than me. But the craft had become something that was the thrust of my career. Thanks to Bamu. Bamu put me in a position to tour young. He put me in a position to be an educator young and to mentor other people in their process. Like so much of my vocabulary about mentorship is directly out of Bamunzi's mouth, directly. But I think a lot of our job, his job to me, Chris's job to me, my job to everyone on here, was just about permission passing. Mm-hmm. It was just that everybody was liberating each other in their process and going, hey, we've had a whole lifetime of people making it clear to us that things were not available to us, that certain dreams were unattainable or at best extremely difficult and rare. And I think we tried to just cultivate a community that said yes and in every possible way. So it's going to be hard, it's going to be difficult, but yes, this institution is for you. Yes, the artistic path, if you want it, is for you. Yes, your art can play into a different path, a more traditional path if you wanted to. But every tool that we're building is interchangeable for whatever life trajectory you want to be on. And I think Chris understood it one way, I understood it a different way, Mamouti understood it a different way. Everyone's sort of on staff, and now I look and I see Sophia running the program and Carl, you know, having such an impact on bars, which is essentially like the master's program of First Wave in New York. Like the next thing. And everything that Mamuti's been doing to craft all those spaces and create new spaces through the Kennedy Center and YBCA, you start to see this tree of permission passing and network building so that when you leave one institution, there's somewhere for you to go and go, okay, I'm ready to go into this next thing. What can I do? What can I do next? How can I pursue next? And the more you do that, the more you become peers with the people who were your mentors before. You know, now Chris and I operate on we have a dual relationship system. We have a mentor system and a sibling system. we're like, oh, we need to figure this out. And also like, oh, right, but also you've been gaming me up for over a decade, you know? And the same with Mamouti. It's like he calls me and I'm like, big brother, and also we need to hack this art shit together as peers. You know, it's this, you start having these dual and tri relationships of how your art works. And the same thing happens with first waivers all the way down. Motherfuckers were your big brothers and big sisters, and you know, all that throughout. And you get into the real world, and like now me and Carl are just like, we're just in it together. There is no tier. I don't know. Let's figure it out. You know, I think that's what's really exciting about the program is we grow and create spaces together that didn't exist before.
Yeah. And Bamu, clearly, based on your introduction, Mamouti, today, you know, you can see that you are the OG in the room. I believe the intro was mentor of mentors. So can you talk to us a little bit about the importance, and you spoke to that the other night, but for this group, the importance of like creating spaces for other voices to grow in, and the joys of that. The joys of that, because you didn't speak to that the other day when we were talking, but it was right behind the twinkle, and I felt it in my heart because I experienced so much joy from that, you know, but I felt like the conversation was going to go long and you shut it down. So the joys of that.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm just gonna flip the word a little bit because I'm gonna try not to get too emotional, but I'm thinking about Raphael, and the word that I have is love. You know, like, if you are not now, you will be soon. Uncles and aunts and mothers and fathers, and you know, I remember very, very clearly a different Raphael Casal. I remember the young man who helped us at You Speaks move into our literary arts center the weekend before September 11th. I remember a lot of things about that young man. I will not incriminate him, and I will incriminate him. But like when I think about it, the word is not joy, the word is love, because it wasn't always like happy.
Yes.
But it was a thing that's a little deeper than that.
Yeah.
To further date myself, I graduated from Morehouse College in the last century, and there was a very real conversation that was happening because there was a lot of like rhetoric and almost a cottage industry around the year 2000 and a kind of, you know, a kind of apocalyptic relationship to the year 2000. Yeah, 2000, Y2K, like 2000, that's when everything is going to go down. That's when the New World Order is going to kick into gear. That's when so when I was in undergrad, there was a very real conversation about armed resistance. And much of the technology that we enjoy now that allows us to connect to one another, we knew that the technology was coming to pass, but there were no cell phones. The internet was very young. So the idea of a surveillance state, we knew that it was coming. We knew that it was going to be, that our technology was going to be manipulated in a particular way. But at the time, it was an undefined and unseen enemy. And so there was a lot of conversation about those of us that were less comfortable with armed resistance about art and the weaponization of art. If you knew the thing was coming, but there were no, you know, the MacBook Air did not exist, the iPad, like all the shit that's plugged in right now, right next to me, it just did not exist. So all you had in terms of your material imagination was these bullets I can bust, these poems I can spit. That was kind of it. You know, that was kind of it. And so in terms of making space, there was like, I'm not gonna bust these bullets, I'm gonna spit these poems. And I'm gonna make space for others to do the same. And in the lineage of, you know, Nikki Giovanni, in the lineage of Richard Wright, in the lineage of W.E.B. Du Bois, of Denmark Vesey. Denmark Vesey, there was a revolution in Charleston. There was a radical moment in Charleston. Denmark Vesey got lynched for teaching people how to read. There's a long lineage as old as this country, particularly for folks of color, where literacy was weaponized and dangerous. So, you know, when you talk about like joy and when you talk about love and when you talk about like making space, and Azura, I see your comments, sis. When you talk about space and making space, what I would say is that it's like the accountability around how you respond to a police state that hunts you as an artist. Like those were the stakes of the space that we were making.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Much less about like, oh, I love to teach workshops.
Right.
And much more like, what is our response?
Right.
What is our critical resistance? And where does art come in? So that.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. And I want the folks to know that these types of conversations about radical resistance, right, and new ways of resisting is what the program is founded in. And so when I say we're recruiting Sophia Snow strategically because of the relationship she had to politics in her community, strategically because of the relationship she had to hip hop and politics in our community and the intersections of those two things, right? We used to call it a paid forward program. You know, we're gonna train the next leaders of the country. and you create critical mass on campus, can you imagine what will happen? Talking about space and creating your own space, Mika speak to a little bit of that earlier with Sophia in their free talk, right? Because she literally created space for poetry and their expression to live right now, right? And there's a public waiting for her to create that space for them to enter. So I want you all to speak about this part of your relationship with First Wave and where you are now. Rena, I know you did a similar thing as well, right? In terms of creating space where other youth voices could grow. You've created space where your individual voice can grow, and you continue to do that. Talk to us about your relationship to First Wave and how that continues to impact upon you.
Yeah. Man, so many things. Thank you, Rafa and Multi, for imparting all that wisdom and sharing with us. I'm hearing some feedback from my mic. Are y'all picking that up?
It's gone now.
Oh, okay, perfect. So I made some bullet get, you know what I'm saying, some list real brief process and in my own individual I think the things that I learned First Wave student and that I cherish now as an independent artist is just play, the first thing. Enjoying the process, literally playing and seeing what comes out of play, and the beauty and practice and craft of play in terms of how it can just birth beautiful art. Really appreciated that. The second thing is just learning that there's some art, there's a lot of art that isn't finished until it is a collaboration. And I think that is one of the, if anything, it's like one of the tenets, if you will, of First Wave, or at least my experience in First Wave. The next thing, which is something that I share a lot with like people, is just that it takes humility to create. And with humility comes courage, and so much more. But that first step, a lot of the time, takes you being confident in your capabilities, which is what humility provides, but it also allows you to have a right understanding of yourself and where you are. And let me make sure. Oh, and then that allows you to create at a high level of excellence, you know what I'm saying? So you can like get the bars, but get the bars precise, you know? Okay. And that I am a fairly privileged individual because since I was maybe like 4 or 5, since I was cognizant of the world, I immediately knew what I wanted to do, which was be an artist. I felt like I knew my purpose from jump, and being an artist, but then also being a non-student now, I just realized how great of a blessing that is. Like, I've never been confused about that. And First Wave confirmed that for me in thousands of ways. Another thing that First Wave, I think, has taught so many of us, current and alum, is that fellowship is sort of, it is bread and butter in a lot of ways. And so I moved to a new city. I moved to Atlanta last year. I graduated, stayed another year, and then moved. And it's my first couple of steps was finding a crew, but not necessarily finding people that I could collaborate artistically, but finding people that I could break bread with and cry to and all the things. And it's a challenge trying to do that during a pandemic, but we working it out. And then finally, and most importantly, which connects to what Chris was speaking toward earlier, is that legacy means more to me than anything I can personally earn. And so it's like, word, thank you for the nomination, but do you see Ella Dietz? You know what I'm saying? I met Ella when she was a little baby, and now, I'd like to think that the JVM project was a part of her ushering into First Wave. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate the compliment, but have you seen Sharita Holden? You know what I'm saying? And so those are the things that I carry with me, and I hold super, super, super close to my heart. I try to be like fair when I'm like talking to or working with, the newest leadership of the JVN Project, which was a nonprofit I was fortunate enough to found and lead while I was a student. But it's hard for me to like not give extra love to Ella, just because I feel so grateful and so excited for like what she'll leave behind, and so yeah, those are all the things that I wrote down.
Because I know you, and thank you so much for sharing that. That was powerful. Bamuti, you hear what Jala Rina just shared, and I want to make sure that's why I followed up with Jala Rina, because Jala Rina founded the JVN Project here when she was a student, and Ella is one of the students that came out of that project who was a 12th cohort member of First Wave. Now, this is major in terms of creating space for others to grow. Another thing, this whole solo production and solo show, and you heard lots of talks about solo shows last night with Ursula Roca and Bamuti's role in sort of setting the bar very high in our community. The solo shows as a program, as a concept, as a strategy for young people to delve into a single narrative, that was introduced in the third year of the program by Raphael Casal. And Rafa guided those first group of students towards building their first solo project, Camilla, Denez, Gabriel de los Reyes, Carl Iglesias, Denez Smith. So Rafa, Carl, James, take it away.
Oh man, jeez, I guess I'll go first because y'all know me. We can get me out the way. What's wild is as everybody was talking, and I was just thinking about like just who I am now and what I do, and I was just sitting here because people always be like, James, you do everything. And as I was thinking about it, I'm like, I learned that from like sitting in editing booths with Rafa. And I was at every Rafa photo shoot. Anytime Rafa shot a video, I was there and I was probably in it. And Rafa showed me that you don't have to really be titled anything. You can just be and just do stuff. Like Rafa was not like, I'm a director today, I'm a producer today, he just did stuff. And I was always around, and it let me know that like I didn't have any gates. Like I can just do whatever. And I went on to youth arts education after this, and I automatically was just like surpassing people in every organization I was in. And I feel like that's a direct kudos to First Wave, being that I knew how to get into a room with 50 kids. And for some reason, by the end, they had a movie or a song or or something, you know what I mean? And to me, that's a direct testament, and it's why I'm back, because I know as a person that is creating all the damn time, it's only right to come back where I got the battery in my back from, and to work with other artists and give all the, like I was just telling like I told Nyame from 13th Co. She was like, I need. We were trying to set her studio up at the crib, and I'm just like, oh yeah, you don't have a pop filter. Put a sock.
Put a sock.
And Rafa was the first person I ever saw put a sock on a mic to use as a pop filter. and that's ingrained in me to tell people like, yo, let's make this work. Like, you got a sock, don't you? Let's record this song. You know what I mean? And like, that's it. But y'all can always talk to me about First Wave, the students that are here. But yeah, Carl.
Yeah, I mean, First Wave has just been dope to me, and since First Wave, I've been exploring verse work in particular in theater and on the page and on in live performance, even though that has been the quarantine. But I think in general, like First Wave just has such like a strong connection to the activism component in particular. And so like I always remember that like with I guess in First Wave, like I begin to tie the knot of that if you wanted to try to do something about it, you could write about it or you could create something about it and something might happen, right? And that might happen was just good enough, right? And I feel like I've carried that to this day. And in verse work, you know, when you study verse work, you know, whether it's like art, like theater in verse of any kind, like the poetry comes, the heightened language comes, the song comes when the stakes are heightened, right? And the stakes are heightened in like our lives, right? And so it's time to get active, right? It's time to sing, it's time to make something, you know what I mean? Because there's no other way to explain it, right? There's no other way to get somebody to stand up. There's no other way to change somebody's mind, right? And I feel like that's some magic or whatever, but I just take that little bit of religion with me to this day. You know what I mean? That we have it and we can do whatever we want.
Yeah. And a school of thought is a school of thought, you know? And it was interesting because today in the workshop, we're passing the mic for those of you on the internet joining us. And we have about 50 young people from all over the country here doing workshop to create performance. For tomorrow, some of them collaborative, some of them solo. And today in the workshop, I'm working with a student on the performance of her poem. And I was able to use Bamuti's sharing on Monday, Carl, to highlight the very point you just highlighted, right? Which you passed to you through AFA, right? Which we continue to teach and affirm. And in explaining it to her today, instead of demonstration, I was like, were you there on Monday? Okay. Now you remember the story Bamuti told. Okay, what part of it became elevated language? How did he manifest that? Okay, oh, it was that moment. And then he went right back into it. Does that serve your way? Right? So a school of thought, right? That the work is ongoing and it's continuing and it's building from one generation to the next and can be exemplified. The next part of this is, you know, we're going to put it in a text. And a lot of the folks on this screen will be a part of that process, I am sure. Jasmine Mans. And Nile is from the 10th. So when you respond to your question, can you also include a response? He's asking about how you create right now in a pandemic, how you get a book out in a pandemic, and how you maintain your craft after graduation. I think it was something to that effect. Yeah, go ahead, John.
Okay, I took like a bunch of notes, if you guys don't mind, and I'll try to be as efficient as possible. But I think it's like super duper important to say that like 2008, what it was B&B on HBO, and like I was coming out of B&B on HBO, and I thought that First Wave was going to be like 4 years of Brave New Voices. At Brave New Voices, I met this woman named Camilla Forbes, and I was like, yo, can I just be your intern whenever I come home from UW? And she's like, yes. And so I was this unpaid intern for Camilla Forbes, and I got to be like on every stage in every rehearsal room. And that's how I found out about Bamuthi, because I was watching plays that you were producing. And so not only was I seeing like creativity in First Wave, but I was also seeing Camila Forbes and Bamuthi and Rafael Casal work as artists, but also strategists. And then I would go back to school. Yeah, strategy is a very important word to all of these people here. And then I would go back to school, and Camila would say, Monique is now doing a BET show. Now it's like you got Brave New Voices on HBO, you got Monique putting poets on her show on BET, and they're like, put up some poetry. And that's when I put up my Nicki Minaj poem. And if it like Camila Forbes asked me to put up my Nicki Minaj poem, and that poem would then go viral. And this is like 2011 when poems are going viral on YouTube because of World Star Hip Hop. And so poetry is getting this like level of visibility that never existed because World Star never existed. It was a shitty platform but it was getting so, it was leveraging millions of views. And then when the poem went viral, Rafa had me meet him in the library, and Rafa made my first website. I don't know if you remember that, but you showed me the computer and you're like, this is jasminemans.com. This is going to change your life. And then the next day we were in class and you made the classroom question my poem because you're like, this is how the world is going to attack you. And so be prepared. And you put me in the middle of a circle. And then like, so it was like, there's something very important about like how the internet was shifting at the time when like we were all navigating in college, and there were like incredible strategists around, and it was because we were brown and poor. And it's just like, we have to talk about how important Nico is to like all of our art forms, because like I will watch homies go to the trap and they're screen printing shirts. And when I graduated college, I called Nico and I'm like, yo, I got all this merch. I got a t-shirt, and I made a t-shirt that says, that doesn't even matter, but I was making t-shirts. I was making t-shirts that were like going viral, and like people were buying these shirts, and Nico was printing them for me in Chicago. And this was after college. So it was like Nico was my business partner, and he was helping me leverage funds on tour by way of selling merch. And then like I would go, like I would travel the country after college, and I'm performing with first wavers who I graduated with, performing with Dinesh Smith. And like, that's how I knew like I was going somewhere. Cause I'm like, all right, Dinesh is on that show. And one of my last shows, Gretchen was on, and we sat for hours talking about e-commerce and talking about how to like leverage finances for our families in order to break cycles. And so it's just like, as brown people, I think we have to think differently. And I've watched that in so many of my peers with what we did with our refund checks, right? Like using refund checks to print books. Like my first book, we used refund money and we made copies and we shipping them from the dorm. But everybody had their strategy to success. And yeah, that's what I'll say right now. But I think my strategy and my care came from like everything I learned. And then like Rafa would make us like do these wall sits and run, and the stamina that Rafa put in us like made me know like I could go on any stage and I already have an hour worth of content, and it's going to be good, and I'm not going to fumble the ball. And that was the standard in First Wave. Can you perform for an hour and just be good, and your breath is good, you're solid? And like that was just First Wave standard. And I realized that standard doesn't exist in many places. So I'm grateful for it. So thank you.
No. Thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you for that, Jasmine. I also, if I may.
Absolutely, Sophia and Gretchen.
Yes, and I know we're also egregiously over time, but I cannot stop this conversation. I'm sorry, y'all. We needed 4 hours for the family reunion, but one of the things that I think connects kind of all these different generations is, you know, Bamuthi, I've watched you over several years create several different productions, always with the homies and always with the people that you trust and that you build real life with. And to watch that trickle over generations, even Word Becomes Flesh with David Diggs, Carvins Lassant, folks that, you know, would go on to continue to do their art with the homies. And meeting Rafa when I did, which was like actually before First Wave, half my lifetime ago now, it was more of that energy of like, forget what people think about putting other people on, make that real shit with the homies and let that speak and let that work. And so when Rafa, when he came to First Wave, he was making music videos in the Memorial Library, and it was like star-studded, all First Wave students and Rafa. But the production quality was crazy. We were watching the video do numbers, and we're like, that was literally filmed with a rented camera from the Commerce Department. And but it showed us like that concept of just make real shit with the homies, and being in the first wave course with Chris's pedagogy of like having to be up on your feet and just think and go hard with it, bringing in guest artists like Chinaka Haj, Maida Del Valle, folks that would just pour into us and just say, dig deep, get into that story. I think First Wave cultivated this concept of community and urgency in making the art, not just because you want to blow up and be big, but because you know that true shit, that undeniable art, that undeniable moment, that production that you can make has to happen in community, and in community with people that you trust and love and share your values. And that's something that the leadership of First Wave, I think, instilled in the bones of this program. I think even Bamuthi, your residency before First Wave started, where you were bringing in so many you were bringing in Camila Forbes, and you were bringing in all these folks, Lauren Whitehead, to even before we started, it's in our bones. And then to hear other alum talk about how building community with each other, creating artistic projects and including each other, it kind of kept us all on our toes to keep pushing forward. And then one day you might be in Rafa's music video, but then maybe next month you're making your own music video and you're asking the freshmen to be in your video. And then maybe the next year the freshmen are sophomores and they're making a book, and maybe they'll have so-and-so try to make the cover art for that book. And that level of community, I think, even when I think about Bars Workshop being the graduate level of First Wave, I feel like it's a postdoc professional level, but it's that sense of even being in New York and meeting other artists who loved hip hop and art in general, being desperate for community. It was like that pedagogy filled up a space that folks were yearning for. And I think the art that we see flow out of that speaks to the current moment, no matter what, because it came from truth. But yeah, so I wanted to note that, like, what we're talking about with this passing off the generations and giving opportunity, it's not because everybody is on, but it's because folks are welcoming you into their process. And that pedagogy spreading like wildfire for like generations of this community and spreading out into other communities is something I'm super honored to be a part of.
Sophia, can I just say one thing about that, because it does relate back to Chris's question about joy and my trying to reposition joy as love. I watch, let's say, Raphael's working relationship with David. Being an artist is hard, right? You might as well do it with people that you love. Like if I wanted a job where like I hated everybody that I worked with, I feel like I'm smart enough to adapt to like find some job that I hate and like not like the people. This is Obi, by the way.
On the Fairyland.
Yeah, perfect example. Like not just love for the people, but love for your town and love for your community.
I told my class to watch too, Raphael. We're all tuned in. Save Fairyland.
So it's like that is also embedded in the pedagogy. It's like it's definitely community, but it's absolutely love. Like you got love for your soil, you got love for your people. That's who you need to be working with so that you can work through things and know that at the end of the day, it's still love. And that's absolutely a part of, how we get down.
That's that on that. Oh, you're muted, Chris, of Fear Speaking too.
Muted. Gretchen, did you mute me? Am I still muted?
No.
Okay.
We can hear you. We can hear you.
No, right. So I was saying that is very much, that's why strategy becomes visible. That deep sense of love and commitment to the thing. It's not about what happens now. It's not only about what happens now, but what will happen tomorrow and what will happen the day after. So that start to look like forward projection and foundation planning and, you know, digging foundations and going, yo, I recognize I'm on the first floor, right? But the next generation is going to build the second floor. It's that sort of, so when you reframed it as love, and I started to reframe it in my head, it started to connect all of these strategies. So when Jasmine put that to word, you know, the whole thing just fell into a very clear picture. Listen, people, it's almost 9 o'clock in the Midwest, which means that it is almost 7 o'clock in the Pacific, and it means that it's almost 10 o'clock on the East Coast. People, I love you, but I have no idea what your time zone calculation is. This is First Wave family. It's clear that we need to do this again, whether it's public for conversation or it's just intimate for us, but it is very clear that we need to do this again. But what I want the world to know when you see the First Wave program is that it is indeed collaborative, even in its founding. It's collaborative in its ideas, and it's collaborative in how it's functioned. Like, we can't do it without the students can't do it without the staff, and it's all of those different voices that came together over the years to make it what it is. I'm happy that tonight was able to happen so we could highlight this. Rafa, I know you're extremely busy right now, so I'm happy you made the time to come join us in this one because your schedule looked crazy. And I know that because I'm putting in a shameless plug. Join Rafa, myself, and David this weekend as we talk to Ethan Hawke for Bars Workshop. Rafa, take it away.
That's the last thing I'll say is like I'm trying so hard not to cry. I'm trying so hard not to fucking cry. Because I didn't emotionally prepare for this. And I should have. I think what continues is the work always. And there are continued spaces for sharing. So I love anytime we can gather. I just want to make sure that everyone knows that like we're trying to make the bars program of the public more and more open. And like if there was any list of people that I want to see at those things, it's everyone here. Foremost, like I'll roll out the VIP for First Waivers, whatever I gotta do. This Saturday we're doing an hour-long interview with and conversation about art and process with Ethan Hawke, who did The Good Lord Bird with me and David. That's on Showtime right now, and we're just going to talk about multidisciplinary art. Who wears all the hats? Actor, producer, writer, director. And a musician and independent film funder. And we'll have a way for First Waivers to ask questions. If there's things that you want to fire off about, there's going to be a lot of different guests. We're doing it over 8 months. We're going to do one big guest every month. We're going to cover all different kinds of artists and people in different positions in their lives. But Ethan said yes first, so he's up first. It's also just a great place for us to just be in the chat and connect and talk and have excuses to do this. So please, please, please. And when the pandemic is over or settled or dealt with in some manner, please come do Bars with the Public with us because it's fun as fuck. And we've done it a few times already. Sophia's done it. Carl's done it. I keep begging James to come. Jasmine is way too famous, but I hope she would come anyway.
Yeah. So blessings, everybody. Blessings. Thank you so much. We have a couple questions from folks. We're gonna email you responses from our alum, but I want you to know that we've received them, we've documented them. Your family, we'll get back to you. Much love, y'all. Gretchen.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you so much.
Peace. Love y'all. Be good.
Much love. Thank you all.